Right. Showtime.
Yay, we're live.
We are live from parts unknown. Well,
Of
parts
which we dare not speak.
of which
Right.
we dare not speak. Indeed. So, welcome everybody to this week's edition of the Squatchable podcast, where we take a look at some of the week in Bigfoot news. Joining me, as always, from Power Breakdown, some say he makes porcupines feel less spiky, and that his beard can translate ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. All I know for sure is I call him Power Breakdown. Phil.
Hi there.
And joining us from nowhere,
Of which we dare not speak.
from the old days of Unexplained Universe, Nikki. Hey, Nikki.
Hey.
And if you like the desolate tones of Nikki or the awesomeness of Power Breakdown, you may enjoy the badly drawn misadventures of two Bigfoot. Head on over to Bigfooting with Keith and Colin, where this week St. Francis of Tapale will continue his search for the promised river and 1,000 Sheilas. And I'll probably be milking that old 20s style black and white thing because I absolutely love that. That's my favorite thing in the world. I'm not going to lie.
The film noir look.
The film noir look with the fin thing at the end. I absolutely adore it.
You need to include some nice jazz, some nice smooth jazz in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So without further ado, I am your host, Richard Allen, and let's just jump into it. Our first story comes from the Charlotte Observer. It is a story about a deer carcass that a mysterious predator had cleverly tried to hide. It's a 90-second video, and the article is about the 90-second video. Some people say it's a setup, but the video went viral after it was uploaded to the internet. Absolutely viral. Some people say it's a bobcat. Some people say it's a bear. Some people say it's a Bigfoot. Some others say it's a black cat.
A Black Panther in Alabama.
A Black Panther.
Or down there they refer them to as painters.
Painters.
Painters, yeah, that's a name they use in the Midwest and the South.
Apparently, you can't find panthers, mountain lions, or cougars in Alabama, however.
However, the people who say that it's a bobcat are actually the wildlife authorities. So they have 40-pound bobcats. They say it's bobcat behavior, so it's probably a bobcat.
Yeah, but it might be Bigfoot, Nikki.
Sure.
I tell you what, let's just say it's Bigfoot because
Why not?
There have been, sightings in the Alabama area, in the state of Alabama. Did you know that?
I did not.
No. The only thing though is that it was something, tucked it nicely away. Why isn't it eaten? Why did they, quote unquote, just leave it there?
Exactly.
So what I'm thinking is, hey, what if a hunter was, out of season and he pulled a smeeha and he shot the thing and he was afraid that, the game warden was right down on the trail, or maybe he heard him something and he just drug it there, hit it and took off.
Also possible, but you would have thought scavengers would have moved in on it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it wasn't found right away, there would have been, I'm sure.
Right, but what if someone did that and then filmed it and was like, "Oh, mysterious," and it was found right away because it was the person that filmed the video.
That filmed the video.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't thought of that, Nikki.
Yeah, I know, right?
So cynical, Nikki.
I mean, incredibly cynical.
This is vintage Bigfoot behavior.
Why wouldn't Bigfoot drag it off to the cave with Mama Bigfoot and Baby Bigfoot so they can eat it together?
Okay, Bigfoot don't live in caves, and that is
whatever.
Racist.
I'm going to be racist. Why wouldn't he take it to his family, or she take it to her family? Why would they just leave it there? They have an abode, someplace that they live.
I do have an explanation for it.
Okay. Phil's got an answer.
John Tesh and I both could be a Bigfoot. We both have extremely long legs, and I have elongated arms, and I roam the woods nude at night often.
There you go.
That wasn't really an explanation.
It was.
It was Conan O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien that did it.
Yeah.
Conan O'Brien killed a deer, hid it, and that's the explanation. That's what we're going with.
It seems a bit more plausible than Bigfoot. I'm just saying.
Just saying. Okay, Nikki's not buying the Bigfoot thing at all.
Well, it's the thing is, if it was a Bigfoot, he would have drug it home. What do you not?
I figured that he would take it home, wherever that may be. Not in a cave, apparently, because, Richard's all one with the Bigfoot. He knows where they live.
It's not like in Australia, you fall in the water, the crocodile takes you on the death roll, and then he takes you over in a cubby hole and he kind of packs your body up underneath the rocks somewhere for his kids to eat later on.
Yeah.
But there's no crocodiles in Alabama, so it's got to be Bigfoot.
Yeah, it has to be.
That's what I'm saying.
Or a
Except
bobcat.
it's not.
Or
Probably a bobcat.
Well, let's say a 40 or 50 pound bobcat dragging a deer, depending on the size of the deer could be 120 pounds, maybe.
Mm-hmm. So of course you'd leave it there.
Well, I mean, yeah, I suppose, and then have the family come back later.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, it could have been the guy who filmed it. Maybe he killed it. Who knows? Maybe he
killed the deer. Yeah, he killed the deer and was like, "Hey, I'm going to put a bunch of leaves over here."
Yeah, he's going to be all sneaky about it. See.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I say it's solved. We don't know.
We don't know.
We solved it. We don't know.
We solved it.
Yeah.
Mystery solved.
Mystery solved. Those are the facts. We don't know.
Those are the facts. We don't
it's probably a bobcat.
We have the facts of this case. That's the fact. There you go.
Those are the facts.
All right, then. Before we tune into our next story, Phil, I believe we have a commercial break.
Oh, shoot. A commercial break. Okay, hold on.
I never cease to wonder at the many ways scientists have learned to improve on nature. And it seems to me that Plenamons, Rexall's popular multivitamin capsules, make a pretty good example.
Why, how do you mean?
Well, ma'am, long and careful study of the Plenamons formula has enabled Rexall scientists to make the vitamins it contains more stable than they are in their natural state. You can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall.
Good health to all from Rexall.
Yes.
Okay, so a new sponsor.
That is awesome. We are sponsored by Rexall Drugs.
That's
Our
one
next
of them.
story comes from our own Power Breakdown. It is what?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Okay. It is a Charlottesville Bigfoot picture that Phil undebunked. He starts the video by saying it really does look like Bigfoot. Phil found the picture on Reddit and then further researched it on Facebook. He ran it through Photoshop and found no anomalies at first.
True.
He did a good photo enhancement of it. And then he found the red flags because by adding contrast, it should have heightened the shadows, but there were no shadows on the subject itself from its arms or legs. And then Phil dug into it deeper and discovered that 8 years ago near North Carolina, a similar sighting was reported. A similar photo was taken. A reporter was sent to investigate the story and then spoke to the property owner and got a laugh out of it. Apparently, the owner liked to hide cardboard cutouts around his property to amuse passerbys.
Yeah,
plywood cutouts. Yeah.
I thought it was funny because I think I've sent it to Richard. So in Illinois, my husband's uncle Leon has a big, giant Bigfoot cutout, and he keeps it like you can see it in the woods if you're driving by. I think I sent a picture of it, but it just made me laugh because that guy's not the only one.
Well, here along the Oregon coast, there's rainforests all along the Oregon coast, and also in Washington. And I know on the Washington side, there's a road that goes into Willapa Bay area, and there's a local artist who makes who cuts out art shapes out of steel, eagles and things like that. And as you're driving into town, here's a huge 8-foot tall metal cutout of Bigfoot. So they're everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere.
We see it at least once every couple of months making the rounds, a cutout picture being properted as a real Bigfoot. I mean,
they're really cool, though.
They are very cool. They are super cool.
I want
But that, I don't spend that much time on a photograph, but when I did the enhancement and I saw that there was no shadowing effect,
Yeah.
I thought to myself, it's almost like it's flat. And it was, but I didn't mention it then, but that's the reason. So, but you did a good job. You also did a bull moose, and the bull moose looks even more lifelike, by what I understand.
You didn't show a picture of it on your video.
No,
'cause
I couldn't find a picture of the bull moose.
Huh.
No one was keen enough to do that and upload it. So, oh well, that's just what I heard. It's really cool, right there. Yeah.
All right then. Well, moving on to our next story. First, a word from our sponsors.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by Whatever We Have in Stock Are Us, your one-stop place to shop for whatever we happen to have lying around at the time.
That's good. That's quality. Our next story also comes from the Charlottesville Observer. It's one of the few websites I can actually view without being blocked by the EU. Brexit cannot come soon enough for me, so the European Union will stop blocking Bigfoot information. Seems to be some conspiracy. But this article is about a haunting Appalachian mountain swamp, and it's well known to Bigfoot researchers. It's been purchased by a land conservancy in North Carolina for protection. Foothills Conservancy of North Carolina says it closed on the 17 acres in Burke County in December with the help of money from a private donor. Multiple Bigfoot sightings have been reported in the area in recent years, according to Bigfoot researchers. Among the... sorry.
No, I was just clearing my throat there for a second. Sorry.
It's
my fault. My bad.
The habitat is said to be home to unique species of plants, animals, and insects. Among the species is a beautiful but carnivorous plant, the mountain sweet pitcher, which eats insects. The Foothills Conservancy intends to give the bog to Burke County to protect with future development, limited to an interpretive hiking trail, according to the release. However, Burke County has had its share of mysteries, including multiple Bigfoot sightings. Bigfoot 911, a Marion-based cryptid research group, told McClatchy News that 8 Bigfoot sightings have been reported from around the Jonas Ridge area of Burke County in the past 5 years. Southern Appalachian mountain bogs are perfect fit for Bigfoot lore because they are often remote and less than thrilling places for people to visit. Most people in North Carolina will never see one, although near 5,000 acres of bogs were once found in North Carolina. Only 500 acres remain. The Nature Conservancy reports.
The Nature Conservatory should fund this show.
They should.
They should, because as they know, this show is also home to some interesting creatures and insects. And it's a very uninteresting place to visit. So I think we need money. I think we need some serious funding.
Some dough. My notes are useless. I just have it's a bog. 8 crazy people in 5 years isn't so bad. Those are my notes.
So that's what you're attributing the Bigfoot sightings to, crazy people.
Crazy people, only 8 of them in 5 years. Not really bad. I mean, unless all of those 8 people went there, and they haven't had anybody else because, it's a bog. And it's uninteresting.
It's a bog. You can actually get killed in bogs, I hear.
Yeah.
Or get attacked by the hounds of the Baskerville.
We haven't got bogs nearby. We've got marshes, which is the
even worse
British version of a bog. And a farmer went missing a couple of years ago, and his body was never found.
Dun, dun, dun.
There you go, right there. There you go.
But was the dramatic music really necessary?
Yes, it was. Because otherwise, it would be a very uninteresting place to talk about.
That's right. I was just really, the whole time I was reading it, I was like, he did this on purpose. He knows I didn't want to read anything.
That's true. I deliberately found long stories for you to read because of your hatred of reading.
It's not that I hate reading. I love to read. I just don't want to do it. It seems like so much work. I've been
Aww.
reading for like a year now, just
Uh-oh.
nonstop.
Oh, crap.
No, sweetie. It was just a small article.
You're a dick.
Yes, I am.
Line 2 is blinking.
Your what's blinking?
Line 2 is blinking again. I think it's that crazy woman again.
Well, before we move on to our next story, another word from our sponsors.
And our first caller is from Reading. Hello. Hello, welcome to Phone In. What's your question to the panel?
You're through now.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello there, this is Phone In. What is your question?
Is it there?
Yeah, no, that was that lady. I couldn't get rid of her. I didn't hit the button soon enough. Here's a commercial for you.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by The Best Things in Life, which are still free with minimum purchase at participating dealers.
Okay.
That's good. I'm really liking these commercials. I think they're awesome. Gonna work hard to beat the Rexall drug one though. They're just,
That's our sponsor, though.
they are our sponsor. If they still existed, I would sign up on the Rexall gravy train.
Me too.
So our next
Yeah.
story comes from Bigfoot Evidence. It is a sighting report. Shaggy giant spotted in Vermont. I can't do an American accent, but I've lived in Vermont since I was 17 years old. I'd never heard of Bigfoot nor seen anything like it in my life. I've seen black bears stand on their hind feet, take a few steps, but always returning to their four-legged walk. I married my husband in 1967 and had 3 children from 1970 to 1972.
And they all look like Bigfoot.
Right?
There are only 2-lane roads in the state except for the interstate I-89, which goes from I-91 in Massachusetts into I-89 and winds its way clear to Canada. We live in Windsor, Vermont, centered next to the Connecticut River, nestled against Mount Ashty. It is a truly beautiful place to live. The people are friendly, even with their New England quirks. It's a place you want to bring up your children and let them walk to and away from school. Never had to lock your cars or houses, but everyone knows for generations, but 1 year changed my life forever. And that's where the story cuts off.
This is not where the story goes.
That's
Sorry.
so there's Bigfoot up in there.
Yeah. All right. So you see, my husband was a hunter. We drove to Richford, Vermont, to his cousin's house, and he and his cousin would hunt buck or doe for the 2 weeks we stayed there.
And then stash them under bushes.
And blame bobcats. He knew every track an animal would leave and enjoyed the sport. So one fateful afternoon, coming back from Reading, Vermont, it was a typical day, maybe 80 degrees, nice breeze. We were talking when I approached a long swinging corner. I had slowed a bit, but when I'd reached straight, there was an animal in the center of the road. I came to a stop, just yards from it.
How come they didn't call Matt Moneymaker?
Why didn't they?
That's what I'd like to know.
We both thought it was a bear, as it was hunched over with its back to us. I honked the horn for a couple of times, but to no avail. The creature continued to do its thing until it started, which, that's standard Bigfoot behavior again right there.
Mm-hmm.
I read that in all Bigfoot sighting reports, Bigfoot doing its thing. It had to be 9 feet tall, maybe 800 pounds, my husband said. Reddish brown, shaggy fur, and then it turned around. Neither of us could speak as it eyed us. It was very apparent that whatever it was intelligent. It was a male, but the largest animal I'd ever seen close up, and my husband was as shocked as I was at the sight of the thing.
So I think it's great that he's just doing his thing, which he's hunched over. It's not like she mentions a carcass anywhere. It's not like he was eating in the middle of the street. I don't know what his thing was, but he's hunched over doing his thing in the street. He finally stands. He turns around, and she makes note to say how tall he was, but also like the next important thing was it was a male.
Of course. Yeah. Well, Nikki, WWTFD.
What would what do? What, huh? What?
You haven't been reading the show notes, have you?
No.
Richard, WWTFD.
What would Tim Fasano do?
Oh
May,
yeah.
How soon we forget.
may the soil lie lightly upon him.
Well, now we have to rely on like Matt Moneymaker, and I have a recording. Matt Moneymaker, when he was a young man, his dad wanted him to go Bigfooting. He wanted to be a Bigfooter. I do. Yeah, it's a rare recording. Here it is.
Do you even want to find Bigfoot, son? Because you don't act like it. What time did you get up this morning? Noon. Bigfoot doesn't get up at noon. He gets up at 4:15 in the morning.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's where it all started.
That's where it all started. So yeah, the animal was in the middle of the road, and then it wandered off into the bushes.
Before it got hit.
And during this whole thing, no one took a picture of it. I'm going to be honest. I prefer Squatchable stories when it comes to sighting reports because the grammar and spelling is so terrible. It makes it incredibly amusing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when Sherry gets on there and tells those stories, she does a good job. I like her videos they do.
Yeah.
They have cool graphics and shit. It's really awesome on their channel.
Yeah. That Squatchable show is very good.
Which, not this Squatchable show, the other Squatchable show.
Yeah, not this one. This one's not very good.
This one's shit, but we like it anyway.
Yeah.
We gather around to discuss Bigfoot and Bigfoot news when there is Bigfoot news.
And now for a word from our sponsor.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by Ed's Almost Good Beer. Remember, Ed's Almost Good Beer was brewed in God's country when God wasn't looking.
Good stuff, too.
That's a quality commercial.
I'm still waiting for them to send me a 6-pack so I can promote them in the correct way.
And our final story is our main event. I know Nikki's been really looking forward to this one.
Oh, have you?
I have like a page of notes. I'm not even kidding. I was sitting there watching it going, ugh. So much shit to say. And then you broke it down and I watched the breakdown and I was like, I love Phil. I love him so much.
Oh, thank you, Nikki.
Should have just watched
welcome.
Should have just watched Phil's version because he just.
That would have been great if someone who sent me the videos would have told me they were the same damn video.
Well, it had the exact same thumbnail picture. So, it's not rocket science, is it?
You know what? I wasn't looking at the thumbnail picture. I was just like, oh, he said these are what I need to watch.
It's not, you've obviously not been paying attention at surgical tech school because it is not brain surgery, and you know what brain surgery is. So.
Well, experience makes the difference.
But anyway, those of you who have been following my antics for some time will know that I used to write a blog. And that blog was focused on one man. Well, it was focused on a few. I mean, Kelly Shaw got...
There were several.
Kelly Shaw got a mention. That other guy, Kat Hansen, used to talk about her. Mark Zasky. The shaman guy, Mark Parra. But mostly it was about Matt Johnson. And I try not to mention him too much on this show because I will just go off on one for hours and hours and hours. But occasionally he does something and I'm like, well, I can't just let that go without comment. He uploaded an 11-minute video this week, which Phil has broken down for. And wow. So he starts off with his Bubba impression, which, Nikki, as a Southern belle, how mortally offended were you?
It wasn't, but I still think he needs to get hit by like a car or something. I was kind of taking the same thing that Phil was like, is this guy, he's asking himself, is this a normal Bubba thing? Or like, I've only watched some of his videos, usually ones that you highlighted, and I don't remember him going off on that tangent. And I was like, is this guy crazy? Does he have fake fans now? Like
Yeah.
fake rampant fans that are telling him that he can't go get married and shit. Like, is he in that high demand? I don't think so, but whatever.
He has a following.
I know he has a following, but I just don't. I don't know. I'm sure most of them's name's Bubba. Not I'm gonna
All of them
lie.
are called Bubba.
All of
Yeah.
their names are Bubba.
It's a
So
prerequisite.
He starts off with his Bubba impression, which was terrible, and then he congratulates himself on his marriage. There's a full 2 minutes of Bubba, which is the beginning of the show, of the video, and that's 11 minutes. So the actual video is 9 minutes long.
Yeah, he was arguing
with
his
himself,
invisible friend.
Yes.
which, just I can sympathize with, but still, there's a time.
Well, yeah, but it kind of tends to beg the question: if Bubba's an invisible friend, then is Bigfoot an invisible friend?
But he begins by talking about Scott Nelson, who uploaded a video, apparently, that he's managed to pull language from the Samurai Chatter video, which the Samurai Chatter, that's a whole other conversation for me as far as I'm concerned. I've never seen anything that conclusively proves that it's Bigfoot. The same thing could be achieved by someone talking gibberish outside where someone was recording. But let's take it as read that the Samurai Chatter is legitimate Bigfoot speech.
It's not.
I
mean, it could be, I suppose. It could be, I suppose. I mean, yeah, okay, why not? What the hell? But there's really no evidence to show that it's actual language either.
No, but Scott Nelson has apparently done this. That's how Johnson starts, and then Johnson, of course, moves on to his favorite subject, which is, of course, himself. He tells us how 20 years ago he began his Bigfoot research. He spent the first 10 years doing the old school money shot paparazzi approach. Then he changed to the habituation method, and then recently he's gone back to the old school money shot paparazzi because he's been posting pictures like messy. How long ago did we interview him, Phil? It was like 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, at least.
Well,
yeah.
Me and Phil actually interviewed him back on Unexplained Universe, and at the time we thought he was quite mad. But now, looking back after everything that's happened, he was actually more sane back when we interviewed him, because it's gone off. Anyway, so Scott Nelson and Ron Moorhead have found language in the Samurai Chatter, but they're still acting like the Bigfoot thing is a mystery. Well, that's just not sitting well with Dr. Matthew Johnson, let me tell you.
No.
Because they don't know what they're talking about. The mystery has been solved. If you want to know who the Bigfoot people are, where they come from, what they want, read his book. Or
Mission accomplished.
Or watch his 4-part miniseries. I've written in my notes here, alternatively, smash your face against a brick wall repeatedly. You'll get the same effect. If you've read all the other books like Lapatisse, which Johnson's ripped off, or Grover Krantz, or Peter Byrne, or all the legitimate Bigfooters books, instead throw those away. Instead, read Dr. Johnson's book, because it contains all the answers you need. And then he goes off on saying that Johnson, of course, has a much larger collection of audio recordings than anyone else, and they're speaking in Squatchinese, English, and Spanish. Johnson knows way more than Scott Nelson does about this. Apparently, Scott Nelson's video confirms everything Johnson's been saying the whole time. I watched Scott Nelson's video, and I didn't take that away, but, people have been apparently doubting Dr. Matthew Johnson when he said that the mystery has been solved, but they're wrong. Johnson won the Bigfoot race because he solved the whole Bigfoot thing before anyone else, and everyone else is behind the learning curve. So who really has the ego problem? Who really has the ego problem? in the Bigfoot
Not him,
community.
obviously. Not him.
Johnston, who is the 13th member of the Council of 12, savior of the Bigfoot race, solved the Bigfoot mystery, or the people that want to see some proof of his claims. And finally, this video could have been 4 minutes long and still contained all the same amount of information because he just repeats himself like a million times.
Therefore, someone shortened it to about 4 minutes.
Yes, Phil shortened it to 4 minutes, which was the right thing to do. Nikki, I know you've been dying to talk about this video.
My first note just says complete wackadoo narcissist. He is. He's nuts. But it just bugged me that he kept on saying, the mystery solved, I have proof, these are the facts, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's nothing. Like, he could be doing a bad lip reading on some warbled mess on a video or whatever. And there's no proof anywhere. Like, you can't prove I don't know. He's nuts. And the whole time he's like, this isn't about money. This isn't about money. And then he's like, but buy my books. And if you don't want to buy my books, watch my 4 videos on YouTube, which, by the way, are probably monetized. So give him money. And he kind of like pulls that narcissist, like gaslighting. Like, if you don't watch my stuff and you don't read my books, then you're from the low information crowd.
You're behind.
And you don't know anything. You're behind the learning curve. And, you're kind of worthless in the Bigfooting community unless you read my stuff and you follow me, which is, it just reminded me of another crazy narcissist who ends up in the news every year during Halloween that I've been an acquaintance with for quite some time. So,
well, mission's accomplished anyway, right?
I don't want to talk to you about this again, you snob. I'd horsewhip you if I had a horse.
It's just, and his the great reveal for those of you who don't know is that him and Mike Kincaid drove to a spot in the woods with a pickup truck and what was it, like a portal gun, apparently, opened up a portal and saved 27,000 undocumented illegal aliens and allowed them
real aliens,
and allowed them access to America to take your jobs and women.
How dare?
Extraterrestrial type, right?
That's the great reveal.
Reptiles are real.
And at no point did anyone during that whole thing pull out a camera and go, let's record this for posterity.
Oh, Chubb said that they took a bike and a car battery.
Yeah. That was essentially it. That's the great reveal.
He says he has many videos of I can't remember what of, but no one's ever seen them.
Yeah, he's got way more. Like, it is true that he has a lot of audio evidence. You just have to go to his SoundCloud account. That is true. However, even the most like diehard Bigfoot supporter is going to listen to that stuff and go, "That's just an owl, dude." I mean,
yeah. Through the whole thing, he's like, "I'm not a narcissist with an ego problem, but I'm the only one. I'm the one true Sasquatch."
Yeah, I'm the guy that does this, and I'm the guy who does that.
You guys are all totally, you're idiots, and I'm the only one that has, knowledge and stuff about an existence of a mythical animal that there's no proof that they actually exist. But yeah.
So watch my parody.
Watch my 4-episode. I haven't watched this 4-episode special.
Did you, Nikki? Did you watch my parody of this?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was so good. I was laughing so hard. I was like, yeah. And I want to know where you get all the titles for those books. Well, you're a very diverse man.
It's part of research, depends on what you're researching about. I had to research all of his works and all of his books, and decided to post them up there for people to see while he's talking about them. I just thought that would be a nice thing to do.
That was a really nice thing to do. If you guys haven't checked out the pair breakdown of that video, it's great, and it will save you having to actually pay attention completely to that full talk for 11 minutes. So
it is not 11 minutes well spent, let me tell you.
It's really not. It was just, he reminds me of like I said, like a Russ McCamey, if anybody knows what McCamey Manor is, during Halloween. he has that very charismatic kind of whatever going for him, but at the same time you could just tell that he's just a toxic person, not only like to himself but just in general, especially with when people are like, I don't have an ego, that immediately makes you think maybe you have an ego.
Yeah.
Well, when he was on the show, you remember when he was on the show, it was I would talk him into a corner, and you could tell, you could just hear his voice and how upset he was becoming. And he says, you can believe whatever you want to. You don't have to believe in this. You don't have to believe in it. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. That type of thing, And I'm like, well, how do you get around that? You can't. I go, okay, whatever, dude.
Yeah, I mean, like, and back then his claims by comparison are relatively sane now. I mean, a hand reaching through the tent is nothing compared to what he's spewing these days.
No, the hand didn't just reach into the tent. It reached through the material of the tent without ripping it.
And grabbed his nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And we all know that antimatter and matter can't exist in the same. But, we've said it all before. I mean, this is like 10-minute rant. It could have been like 4 minutes long. All he wanted to say was buy my book, watch my videos. Scott Nelson is both full of shit and telling the truth. That's all he said. But instead of that, we have 10 minutes of just ranting and raving. It's ridiculous. Like, if you're on the toilet and you've got 10 minutes spare, by all means watch it, but that's like the only situation in which I can recommend.
If you were on the toilet and it was playing in the next room, you would push that sucker out just so it can jump up and turn it off.
But yeah, like I said, I don't like to talk about him much on this show because I will not shut up. But in this instance, I couldn't let this video go without comment. That'll wrap us up for this week.
And now,
And now a final word from our sponsors.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by our mystery sponsor, a product that is so good that they're paying us to keep anyone from associating it with this program.
Brilliant.
Yeah, wow.
He got a Bigfoot job.
I have actually read his book, Chubbs. Thank you, though.
I'm not even reading the, But, I mean, is there anyone on there that is saying anything of significance?
In the book? No, not really. It's just him ranting about how great he is.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, cool.
Half of it's not even written by him. It's witness testimonials. And like the foreword written by Bob Gimlin, which Bob Gimlin categorically denies. You see, I'll just rant about it. I'll just rant about it.
Right. But Gimlin said, I never did that.
Yeah, that was funny.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
So what does he have a PhD in exactly?
Psychology.
Really?
Child psychology, I believe.
You don't think that he would, like, I don't know.
Look,
maybe have some self-awareness. Maybe.
It's a standard rule that the crazier you are, the better a psychologist you are. And I genuinely believe he's a good psychologist. He has to be.
He doesn't have an ego. He's just the messiah of the Sasquatch.
Yeah.
He's just Jesus of the Bigfoot world.
He's just Jesus of the Bigfoots, of the cryptids and the aliens.
The thing is, if he did have all the answers, he would know how to, basically shut down all the other Bigfoot sites and this show. And, I mean, he would have the empirical evidence of it all, and people would just give up and walk away. So, okay, you're right.
Right. He would also be able to be like, here's my empirical evidence, and these things exist.
And
then
by the way,
scientists going, hell yeah.
And here's the scientific journal that it's published in. End of story.
Yep.
But it's, still.
He's a wackadoo.
He's a wackadoo. That's the best way of describing him, I feel. In retrospect, a wackadoo.
A wackadoo. And it sounds nice, too. It doesn't sound like it's super insulting.
No, it just sounds like, we're all having a laugh here. We're all friends. Ha 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 ha. Wackadoo.
You wackadoo.
You wackadoo.
Wackadoo, 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 wackadoo.
Thank you. That was going through my head, Phil.
I knew you were thinking of that.
Brilliant. So yeah, that'll wrap us up for this week. We will return next week, despite the hopes of many. Phil, have you got any super cool breakdowns coming out? Hello,
Hello.
Phil.
Oh, there
Oh,
he went.
he's gone. All
Oh
right.
no.
So I guess it's just you and me to round out the show. I would assume that Phil's going to do some breakdowns this week. I will be doing my cartoons. Nikki, you got any plans for the week?
Absolutely nothing. I'm out of school. I don't have to work. I'm doing nothing this week.
Nikki's having a well-earned week off.
Yes.
Alrighty then. So see you next week then, I guess.